Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. It's Karina from Ragebreed, and tonight's show is usually Boom, but we're going to be doing a Ragebreed Mind, Body and Spirit special this evening instead. We decided to do that because at the moment my internet is down in my flat, so I'm unable to go online through my computer, but I can on my phone. Hotspotting at the moment, so I thought I would do a talking podcast this evening. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how do you deal with people that do not give you the same treatment back. I've had a few people message me and say, I feel as if like I'm constantly giving love, I'm constantly giving, attention, making that person feel valued and loved, and that other person doesn't seem to reciprocate that. And what is it that it is wrong to do? Or, what are the tips here in order to get that person to reciprocate the love and attention that I deserve? So, but I mean, look, everyone is different, and how they receive your love and your attention down to how much it's down to how much they value that. And if they don't have value for love, and they don't have value for, people being nice to them, it's usually an issue within themselves because they don't treat themselves very nicely. So they'll see it a little bit alien and they'll push it away, and you'll have a kind of a bond where it's push and pull a lot of the time. And a lot of that can be resolved if the person works on self-healing, self-care, looking after, um, you know, that kind of spiritual side of everybody. So for me, it's like when I've gone through something pretty difficult, I look at my values and the things that make me happy, and I put a lot of time into doing that. Like my healing has been, music, Ragebreed, the different types of things that I enjoy doing, because they're part of my soul, they're part of what makes me me. A lot of people put down a lot of other people that accomplish things, but I think actually it's one of the most rewarding feelings knowing that you've made the effort to learn something, create something, and you're trying your best to do things that have value to you, because that is the core of who you are. So um, say if you're a person who doesn't have something that they like to do or enjoy doing and things like that, there's got to be certain things in your life that you need to work on. So I would say to a lot of these people that give a lot of love to others, also work on things that you enjoy doing. So you have a life separate to just always giving to other people, if that makes sense. For me, it's my poetry, my singing. I do a lot of you know I guess spiritual creative work that I feel works for me, and it's the core of who I am. It's my values, it's all those things. So when you work on those things, you have a sense of authenticity and knowing who you are, and with that comes kind of like you have to do a lot of inner work to look at what are your standards, what are the things that you are happy to endure. And in the past, I didn't have healthy boundaries in place. I didn't tell the person that this is wrong and I don't like to be treated this way. Whereas now I'm very vocal. If someone who I care about is treating me badly, I actually say, look, you're treating me pretty badly right now, and I'm not happy with it. And that's called having healthy boundaries, because it's not okay for someone to treat you like crap. It's not okay for people to walk all over you. It's not okay for people to, make you feel as if you're just like one of many, or not giving you that love and attention that you so rightly deserve. So it really is about voicing what you want and how you want to be treated, for one. And also it's about sort of understanding from the other person's point of view as well. It could be that they are experiencing, a sort of a sabotaging experience because of trauma. So sometimes what happens is say if you're in a relationship with someone who's hard work, basically they've gone through a lot of trauma. It's been very hard for them to open up and trust. So it's a slow process. It sometimes takes a while for them to um, understand what love is, and because they've never been treated well before, they've always had people cheat on them, so that they feel like they're unworthy or unlovable. Maybe they have some, mental illness problems, and if they find it really difficult to accept love, and that kind of thing. So it really is about understanding the other person also, and communication is key for any relationship. Now, you know, when it comes to love in general, we talk about, respect and, all that kind of stuff, and honesty and all that. When it comes to certain relationships whereby, there is self-sabotage happening in both parties, or maybe it's just in one party, you have to be very patient. Now, a lot of people say walk away, it's not good for you. Yeah, it is. To be honest with you, it all comes down to endurance and how patient you can be with someone who has gone through trauma, who is finding it difficult to trust you, because of the trauma that they've previously experienced. And that paranoia can be really hard for someone, because it's kind of like, how do I accept love when I don't understand how to love myself, and that's where a lot of relationships have this push and pull thing. So usually sometimes what happens is this person may sabotage it, thinking that, the other person is cheating on them, even though there's no actual visual evidence. That person, his partner might get a lot of attention from other guys, and it causes a reaction, and he thinks, oh, why would she want to be with me when she's getting all this male attention? So in order to sort of even it up, he might start flirting with other girls to, you know, boost his ego a little bit. And, and it's really hard, because when there's a lack of trust, there's this kind of like weird competition thing happening, and that's an absolute, you cannot function a relationship like that. You have to stop doing that. um you've got to be in a situation where both of you are lifting each other, but also voicing when the other person is doing something wrong. So, like for example, if, for example, someone is being led on by a friend of yours, for example, you've got to be able to, he's got to be able to say, no, what you're doing is wrong. I love the person I'm with at the moment, or creating a bond with, and I'm not going to humiliate her or hurt her by saying yes to you, and it's the most, for me personally, when a guy can say no to a woman, it shows me self-control. It shows me that he is a man and not a player. And it's really attractive in a man. Like, that is a really attractive trait. I'm not into this kind of player thing where guys just treat all women like whores and stuff, and you know, that's really off-putting, because you might love the soul of a person and who he is and things like that, but it's treatment at the end of the day. So if a guy is treating you like an option, like with other women, you need to really question whether this person is right for you, and it really does take a lot of sort of understanding, and soul work and stuff, to really think, is this person right for me? Is this person going to treat me good or bad? Is this person willing to change? I mean, sometimes you have situations where a person has been bad for a very long time, and cheating and things like that, and, you know, have actually felt remorse and felt like, oh my God, how could I have treated this person this way? and has wised up to that treatment and how he has been treating the person he's supposed to love and or care about, at least, and it really does come down to not being selfish and saying, do you know what, I actually care about the heart of the person that I value, so I'm not going to keep breaking that person's heart by getting with other women and cheating and things like that. And it's difficult because what sometimes then happens is that, say if the person does sabotage it and starts, getting with other people, even though he doesn't care about those other women, what happens is it pushes that other person away, and that person will then start feeling, oh my God, he's hurt me, will feel brokenhearted, and then try to move on, and try and date again, and protect the heart. But then what essentially could happen again is that you've taught that person that no matter what he does, that you will always love him and come back. And usually that's because the other person thinks that that person will have changed or have remorse for what he's done. But if they keep continuing this pattern, then it's wrong, because that other person has to see that what he is doing or she is doing is wrong. You've got to, if you're with someone and you're creating a bond online and things like that, and or whether you're seeing that person or you're in a relationship or you've confessed feelings and love or whatever you want to call it, and you're building that bond up, then it's really important to sort of say no to other people. And what sometimes happens is it comes down to endurance, as I say. Once that person feels safe with you and cares for you, then he will make time for you and do the right thing by you. But if he's one of these kinds of people that continues to play, doesn't have any remorse, doesn't care, you are probably dealing with someone who is a narc, because they don't care about who they hurt. So it's all about what they can get. So it really is down to that. So it depends on whether the person is truly traumatized from the past and finding it difficult to trust, to someone who is a narc and enjoys hurting you and getting with loads of women and doesn't care about how he treats you. So there's two different elements there at play, but ultimately it is up to you to decide whether or not you can accept that kind of bond into your life. So say if you say, you know what, I want to be patient, he's gone through trauma, I'm going to try and help him feel safe, and hopefully he will reward me with the same treatment of love and acceptance and care. Now I've seen couples completely transform because they've realised that throughout all the heartbreak and all that kind of trauma and stuff, that they've come out stronger because they're able to find out where they went wrong, where the problems were, they're communicating better, they're making time for each other. That is really important. So they were able to fix the bond and move forward, and that's fine if it can get to that place. However, two people have to be on that same page. So what I would say to anyone who is in that situation where they're giving that love and treatment and stuff, and the person is just taking and taking, and then ultimately just trying to put basically throw you in the mud, and tries to get with other women behind your back, that is not a good person. You've got to also understand that it comes down to your worth and what you're willing to accept. Now, people have asked me sometimes, what do I do if we're both kind of like polyamorous, but he's still treating me badly or whatever. So with polyamorous relationships and stuff, it's kind of more, they have lots of links with lots of different people, and that's okay, but you have to kind of be clear on what your boundaries are. So, and also again, it comes down to treatment. So are you clarifying what the rules are, and are you making sure that both of you are making sure that the other person is good. Because the thing is, and this is what I will say, is that if both people don't really care about each other that much, in terms of they don't want, how do I explain it? Like, it doesn't hurt them to see that other person with someone else, then a polyamorous relationship can potentially work. But what tends to happen, and this is from, like seeing other couples, is that a lot of the time the women start feeling like they don't deserve a loving relationship. And everyone, in my opinion, has a heart. They feel things. And, some people guard their heart and they pretend they don't care, but your heart is your heart. We are human beings. We have a mind, body, spirit. We feel things, and when you grow to love someone and you grow to really care about them and stuff, you don't want to hurt them anymore. And it's like, so in the terms of polyamorous, that's very difficult to do with someone that you love, because seeing them with someone else could potentially be a threat. Because say if they did get with somebody else in front of you, or whatever, or however you guys deal with it, they could decide that actually I want to be with that person for the rest of your life, So it's very tricky on what you potentially agree with, what you want, if that makes sense. So you have to really be clear on your boundaries. And I mean, sometimes it works for other people, sometimes it doesn't. At the end of it all, you've just got to make sure that there's clarity within your bond, where what is it, what is the bond, what are the rules, are you going to build a life together, what are your boundaries, what do you expect from the bond, and what do you actually want, you know so it's kind of like that. So really, you've just got to think about how you're going to communicate these things to each other. And if that person isn't reciprocating, why is that person not reciprocating? Is there an underlying issue? Is there resentment? Is there somebody else? Figure it out by talking. Communication is so important. And I always say this, it's so key to having a healthy relationship, And if you do get triggered, it's okay, because, people do get triggers, because most people have gone through heartbreak and traumas. But then, settle down. I always say this, arguments are very normal in relationships. If you don't argue, there's a problem, because you're not stating your boundaries, but you also have to have peace as well. So it's more like, if you feel happy with someone, you're feeling peaceful, you love the person, you want the person, and you both are into each other, that's awesome. That's really cool. But can you build with that person? Will that person support you in what you're doing? Do you support each other's goals? Do you want a life and future with that person? And so many people sit there and say, oh, well, I want someone who's like this physically, or I want someone like this. And the reality is that you've got to be grateful for the people that truly do love you and care about you. I mean, a lot of people say to me, oh, Karina, you look really hot and all this sort of stuff. And guys, I tend to find I probably get more guys hit on me now than I ever did do. And I'm not exactly a size 6 model, I mean, I went out earlier on just to go to the shop, to get some milk and stuff. And like, some dude I was wearing a long sleeved overthrust top with black trousers. Like, I didn't exactly look, I wasn't dolled up or anything, just had a bit of eyeliner on, my hair down. Literally, the guy was like, oh my God, the things I want to do to you, I want to do this to you, and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, oh God, makes me sick, it's like, but, at the same time, it's, I just don't understand a lot of the time how guys some guys can be very, forward like that when they don't even know you and stuff, and say very crude things, but it is what it is. But my point being is that you will either have chemistry with someone or you won't, and if you've got chemistry there, regardless of whether that person is your usual type, it doesn't matter as long as you've got chemistry there, I remember this girl saying, oh, everything, we get on so well, but he doesn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. And I'm like, that shouldn't even matter, because if the connection is there and, you're into each other and there's chemistry, then that all those little traits shouldn't really matter. But I mean, it all comes down to personal preference. And for me, it has to be somebody that I'm connected with, really, really important. My heart it has to be a genuine connection. But also sometimes you have to also make good decisions for yourself and ensure that the person is right for you. So you have to do a lot of talking. You've got to, and the kind of guy that I'm interested in is, I want them to be able to say, I want to plan a future with you. I'm not interested in guys like, oh, let's just see what every day brings. And no, because that to me is like someone who can't basically plan anything. You've got to be able to sort of say, this is for me anyway, that I want to be able to say in 5 years have a home, have my own home, have my own business or whatever, because to me that's an attractive quality, to have someone who actually wants good things from life, and wants to support and help his partner. It's not all about him and what he can take of the other person. It's about building together, and creating this really strong bond between two people, and and both of them having that balance of power, so they both bring 100% into the relationship, and see where it goes. And this is the thing, I mean, like, you don't really know where something is going to go until you spent time with each other as well. For those of you that say that, oh, I keep giving and giving, ask for something back. That's another thing. If you're giving lots of love and stuff, and you feel like you're not getting anything in return, talk to them. Say, I want to feel like I want to feel like I matter to you. So speak to them about it, and how can they show that love to you back, if that makes sense. And that's what it comes down to. It's showing love in the way that's right for you. And some people show it through physical affection, some show it through very practical ways, in terms of like money, or like they have, people show love in very different ways. They do it. It could be just, did you get home safe? Is it's things like that. You don't realize what that is, and the thing is everyone is different, so everyone's got a different love style. And I'm a very emotive love style. I show my love through words and music, and I show it through physically, emotionally, spiritually. I want and I also show it in the way that I want to help build the other person up. So I might offer them to do well, or it's a lot of different things. I try to help a lot of people. I try to help my friends. I try to help people I think have got potential to do well. I see people as lights. It's really strange. It's kind of like I want to see them shine, and that's the way that I'm wired up. So it's like, for me, I just want to be loved and loved in return. So whatever I give, I expect that back. And that's pretty much it. So ask that from your partner. Let them know that you want to feel valued and cared for, and hopefully that person will reciprocate what you want. But if not, then you have a decision to make, on what type of personality this is. Is this somebody who is a narc, or is it somebody who is just dealing with trauma issues, and trust, paranoia? Then work through it with them. it comes down to endurance, you know. If you care enough and you love enough, then maybe you can make it work, you know. If it's somebody that's a narc that enjoys like putting you down and hurting you, then there's a serious issue. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. So try and work it out, and hopefully you guys will get things sorted. And if not, you know, obviously the last resort is to move on with somebody else that can reciprocate that love that you have been, you know, missing. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to whether or not that person appreciates what you've done for them, or cares, you know, or cares for you in that way. So that's what I would suggest, when it comes down to, uh, you know, this kind of situation. And it happens quite a lot, you know. There's a lot of givers in families, you know. The mother's usually the giver, you know, but they should be equal, you know. It should be equal. um, I think with men it can be difficult for them to show how they feel because they're a lot more guarded. I wouldn't say all men are guarded. I think there's a lot of females actually that are very guarded, but it's just about communicating what you need from them, and hopefully they'll be able to show you in a way that's right for them, or for, sorry, right for them and right for you as well. So um, communication is always key, and also it's okay to state your boundaries if something is not right for you and you feel like it's how they're treating you is wrong. And making sure that they're aware that you know your worth, because you are worth so much. You know, it's unbelievable sometimes, you know, when I think back to what low worth I used to have, and you know, and a lot of it can happen because you've got really toxic people around you that make you feel like you're going to fail all the time, like you're worthless. And you know, when you've got people around that putting those ideas into your head, it's really, really bad to be around them. This is why I suggest, you know, protecting your space and being around people that, you know, want to see you win. They want to see you succeed. They want to see that, you know, they support you. They try and help you the way they can. And the problem is sometimes you can be around people that want you to fit into their box, and you know that box is like, and if you're not perfect and if you don't fit into that box, they think that you're, you know, not worthy of the same treatment as everybody else. So be careful with who you surround yourself with. Put distance there with anyone that is making you feel bad about who you are, what you do, all that kind of stuff, and only hang around with those that love and respect you in return. And that's what I would say, because you know, everyone has opinions on how things should be done, right? And this is where I talk about, you know, criticism. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I think everybody is wired differently. And this is what I've learned. Everyone is wired differently. And some people like to have a very sort of safe passage through life, you know, a very sort of limiting kind of way of thinking. And there's others that will have a sort of more ambitious, take risks, you know, that kind of thing. And they'll experience life in a different way, and there'll be hurdles and there'll be things like that. Stability is important, but also sometimes you can get stuck in this sort of place whereby there's people around you that are making you feel like this is all you're worth, and actually who you are and what you're capable of is a lot bigger. So you need to surround yourself with the dreamers, the people that, you know, want to get somewhere in life, and you know, they help each other win. That they are the best kinds of people that you will ever meet in life. Those that support you, want you to win, they'll fucking row your boat right to the end. They're the kind of people that you want in your life, not the people that just sink your ship. And that's it at the end of the day. This you've got to have the right people in your life. And I always say to people, I actually believe in blocking people. I believe in, you know, people that do not show you respect. And I think respect has gone out the window, in a lot a lot of scenes, and just in general in society, there's people that have no respect, and it's like you've got to, you know, decide, are disrespectful people, trolls, things like that, do you really want them in your life? Because for me, no, I don't. I'm happy to discuss things, but ultimately I will do what is right for me. And you know, there's lots of ways that anyone can improve themselves, and I'll always take on board advice to try and do things better. Um, you know, and I usually will take that advice from people that have done things a lot longer than I have, or someone who's in my field that has got that sort of status that they can give me that advice. I don't take advice of people that don't know the type of life that I want to live, or I don't take advice of people that have absolutely no uh, experience in the field that I'm in. Like, I mean, not being funny, but you know, I've had people try and tell me how to do my job from people who are just in, you know, who are just mothers, have never done it before in their life. And there's nothing wrong with being a mother, but there is something wrong with you trying to tell me how to run what I do. So, you know, it's kind of like it, but you know, this is how the world is. A lot of people have got opinions and things like that, and you'll always find that you know, not everybody has got a clue on how things are done, and it's like you can't educate everybody on every single thing. So for me, you have to just know who you are, be authentic to who you are, do the things your way, the way you think is right. Read, learn, get feedback from people that are actually in higher sort of places than you, people that you can call role models, and know what they're doing, and you know, take on their feedback. They're the people to ask feedback from. Um, Ask your customers, ask your bands, you know, see if there's a way that you can do things better, and you know, always think of ways to improve. You know, I always believe in that. You know, there's a lot of things that I can personally do to improve, and I know that, but it's my journey, and I will crack on with it. You know, but at the end of the day, this is what I'm coming down to. It's really important to gain that self love. It's really important to gain that authenticity to who you are. Don't just go with the crowd, um, you know, who are just being asses. It's not good to bully. It's not good for anybody. If you're not being shown love in return, you know, figure out whether you can communicate with that person. Make sure that you're, you know, making a good decision for yourself in the relationship, and work through if there are traumas and things like that, because you know, triggers will happen, and you know, it's hard to trust in this day and age. So yeah, definitely try and work through your problems if you can, but if you're dealing with a narc that enjoys your pain, cut off, because that kind of abuse is really awful. If you are in an abusive relationship and you need counselling from it, please do go to UAVA. They are absolutely brilliant, whether it's physical, mental, or you know, sexual abuse. Please do go to UAVA. They have been absolutely supportive. They have funded, you know, counselling sessions for me, and I can't thank them enough really, because they've really helped. You know, I still get some triggers and stuff, but I'm managing them a lot better than before, and you know, and I think sometimes, you know, it takes a while to get over certain things in your life when they've been particularly traumatic, but you will definitely get to a point of where you analyze the people in your life, and are they good for my are they good for me, or are they bad for me, you know? And that's what you've got to look at, you know. I mean, for me, when I'm in a relationship, I offer support, love, care. That's who I am, you know. But if the person is doing something wrong, then I won't back down. I will pipe up and I will give a consequence to it, because you have to self defend yourself if someone is doing something wrong to you. So that's how I operate. It's pretty much do no harm, take no shit. And that's probably the best words of advice I can give you all. You are not wrong to love someone. You're not wrong to want someone. You're not wrong to give, you know. But if you want something back in return, you need to communicate, find out what the reason is behind it, why they're not doing that. You know, and that's all you need to really understand. It takes a while for relationships to really get onto that page of that trust feeling, you know. And then once you have that trust, it's easier to be intimate in other ways, you know, where it's like physically, emotionally, sexually, you know, even spiritually, you know, you will have that connection. But at the same time, is you cannot allow that person to keep treating you badly. And that comes down to whether or not he is selfish or she is selfish. And you've got to communicate what you want from each other. So yeah, that's what you've got to look at. And I really hope that this has helped you. I know it's only a very short podcast this time, but please understand the situation. So, but yeah, like I say, I mean, I do live coaching sessions. I've got a group workshop, which I'm probably going to do. I was going to do it this year, but I think it's going to be next year now. But I will be doing group life coaching workshops and stuff. And it's going to be a way for you to learn about relationships. There's also going to be group life coaching. So what are your goals, your aspirations? What part of your life do you want to work on? All that kind of stuff. And there's going to be a lot of good that comes out of it, I believe. So yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. So guys, you know, if you want to do a one-to-one session with me, however, it's £50 and it's not very much. But those of you that are on benefits or low income, it's only 30. And what we normally do is we book in advance a few sessions, and then that's how it works. So if you are interested in doing life coaching, please do drop me a message on Karina A Sher life coaching page on Facebook, and I'll send you all the links and stuff on how to sort it, and we can go from there. But yeah, obviously I do Ragebreed mind, body and spirit, and I do my life coaching for alternatives and you know, regular people and stuff. So yeah, all good. If you ever have a question and you want me to answer it, obviously feel free to drop me a message on Karina A Sher life coaching. I'm happy to do some videos to help you all. And don't forget that Ragebreed mind, body and spirit on Ragebreed TV. There's like some healing meditations and things like that, and some of my work is on there as well. So if there's anything that you want to listen to in terms of mind, body and spirit, do go there. I do believe that your personal experiences help other people out of a dark place, and that's, I think, what makes a good life coach, someone that has actually experienced you know, similar things to most people in life. So yeah, you know, I hope you guys have a great night, and like I say, keep it metal, keep it Ragebreed. Take care.